All right, Shalom. This is the brother Nahalia from the GMS Orlando camp. I want to start off by giving all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rukah Kodash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, who are the elders of Yasha Allah, and a sincere salutation to all Yuakim, who are preaching this word and believing this word, and to the Akwath, who are believing this word, in all truth and in sincerity. Yahweh is the name of the one they ignorantly call God. Yahweh Shai is the name of the one they ignorantly call Jesus. Bahashem is in the name, Rakah is spirit, Kodash is holy, Akyam is brothers, Akwath is sisters. Shalom means peace, and Yasha Allah is Israel in the ancient Paleo Hebrew. All right, I want to go into a lesson through the spirit on this dialogue between Tariq Nasheed and Myron Gaines and Sneeko. All right, Myron Gaines is from the Fresh and Fit podcast. Sneeko is one of those guests. And I titled this lesson, Edomite Supremacy Disguised as the Manosphere, because when you listen to this dialogue, you really find out what these guys in the Manosphere really think about you Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. All right, and I want to hit those points to show that. And what happens is our people go to these spaces, particularly the men of our nation, they go to these places, and because these guys speak some truth, they get sucked into these spaces where they basically repackage Edomite supremacy. So their solution is all based on you envying your oppressor. All right, so let's go here real quick. It's Proverbs 3:31, and it reads, "Envy thou not the oppressor, and choose none of his ways." All right, because when you look at the solutions that Manosphere has, it has nothing to do with you Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans as a nation of people. Really, what they try to convince you to do is forget about your condition as a nation of people, all right, and pursue your own individual success. All right, we'll get that in Haggai, the first chapter. But before that, I want to go ahead and play this around the 16-minute mark, and then we'll get another clip from this, Lord willing.
We can look at your high.
Just deflected everything.
This is high IQ conversation from you guys? Really?
Oh, you started talking
Bro,
about
racism is not high IQ. Stop.
You guys are talking like you're Rhodes scholars. You're a bunch of YouTube flunkies.
Bro, you're talking like,
right?
you're talking like
you're not a Rhodes scholar. You're a bunch of YouTube flunkies.
You do not know.
All right?
You do not.
Your only platform is you can only come up by spewing anti-black racism. You're not intellectuals at all. Let's stop it. All right?
You want to hear why anti-black racism exists is because of you. You're the problem.
You're a bunch of Anglo.
You're the reason that black people are held back in America because you hold on to victim mentality without anything else.
You failed, and all of you failed in your homelands. All of you, and you want to be white supremacists, and that's the only platforming you can do is spewing.
So what he's bringing out, all right, is that a lot of these guys in the Manosphere space have so-called black and brown faces, but when you look at the points that they make, it goes back to Edomite supremacy. The same things that you hear from the conservatives, all right, when you hear these things from the alt-right, the same talking points you find in the Manosphere. You know, the only commonality, you know, Jake has with these guys in the Manosphere is they look similar to Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, and they talk about women. Outside of that, when you look at the solutions that they give you, it's the same things that the so-called Republicans give Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, which is basically pull yourself up by your bootstraps and forget about what happened to you. All right, now what you're going to find out in this conversation as we go forward is the layers get peeled back, and when these guys get into their feelings and they get in their emotions, they start to reveal how they really feel. So let me jump to around the hour and 14 mark. Got a timestamp, and then we'll get this as well.
Where do you work hard?
That's
what he did not say. The work. I'm just curious. What do Mexicans lead in?
They're very hardworking people.
Okay, and they lead in
what? You can't just say that. You said industry. He said black people are hardworking. So you asked him specific industries. So then I asked, what do Mexicans lead in?
Landscaping.
Okay, you see what I'm saying? Yes. Like you could turn around and then knock you could knock what they do too. You could say, and they get, most of them get paid under the table and aren't American citizens.
And they are a burden on the system. Let's keep it
so if you do that, y'all are giving this man the win, and it's sad to watch.
So there's no win. He's saying that they're hardworking, but he can't even think of an industry besides crack. Where do you work hard?
That's
what he did not say that. And he gave you five. He gave you five industries. See, that's what's not
fair.
Are we doing the drug thing? You know very well that Black Americans
wait.
on average
go to
not
drugs.
work
They
hard.
may not like
I know he
them.
didn't go to drugs. I know he didn't go to drugs.
Yes, he did.
I know they did.
And blacks don't lead in drugs.
Coke.
Did he go to the drugs for real? The
He
drugs are
said
coming from
crack,
Asia.
and blacks don't lead in this.
We don't even lead.
That's what these kind of arguments then make you do sound crazy if you're listening to this. And so whenever Tyreek made the same kind of stereotypical remarks about his people, he got upset.
Right. See, but
and he turns right around and
you get
making them
victimized about the racist jokes. When you talk about eating dogs, I don't victimize myself because you know very well the average Black American does not work hard. They're not.
That's a lie.
Black Americans will use victimization to not work hard.
That's a lie.
To get
we don't have an
welfare.
option but to work hard. We don't get anything. We have to work hard. We don't have any other option but to work hard. We don't get anything.
Yeah, if you did work hard, you would succeed, and you wouldn't even be having this conversation right now because the vast majority of Black, it's just not because of the victimization that you
projecting your failed, because you come from two failed cultures,
I'm actually a success at a very young age. I'm half your age and I'm more successful than you. Because the average Black American,
you're not more successful than me.
They ride off of the victimization that you promote.
You come from two failed cultures. You are not successful, sir. You can't even get your toothpicks. You got knocked out today, sir. You come from two failed cultures.
All right, so that was the point. You know, when you listen to this whole conversation, it's a lot of BS, but there's some meat in it. Now Sneeko is one of those guys in the Manosphere. All right, when you really look at his background, he really is a Jake. You know, his father is a Levite. All right, from the tribe of the so-called Haitians. All right, so he is an Israelite. All right, but he thinks like an Edomite. He envies the oppressor, and this is what Tariq Nasheed was bringing out. And he really exposed the Manosphere to basically be Edomite supremacy wrapped in this different package. All right, because when they talk about solutions, it's the same thing that you've been hearing since you got here, which is basically pull yourself up by your bootstraps and forget about what's happened to you. All right, they don't tell you to think as a nation of people. These guys teach our people to think as individuals, which is what they've been telling our people for the longest, to distract them from what's actually happened to you as a nation of people. Redlining has an effect today. All right, what happened to Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans when we got here, the free labor, has an effect in the world today concerning Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. All right, the crack epidemic, the crime bill, all right, these things, the welfare programs, these things have an effect on Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans today. But what they do in these type of spaces is they deflect from that, and they just tell you to just pull yourself up by your bootstraps, which in a nutshell is basically telling you to envy, you know, the ones that brought you here. All right, so this is Proverbs 24:1. Be not thou envious against evil men, neither desire to be with them. And when you look at the Manosphere as a whole, their solution is basically for you to envy evil men and desire to be in their company and in their circle. And for you Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, in order for you to be in their circle, you have to disassociate yourself with your people. You can't speak on the condition of your people. Because if you do, as they say, your victimization is a victimization. But they never use those points against the small hats. They never bring that up against the small hats. All right, these are talking points that you hear from Edomites. All right, but because there are so-called black and brown faces saying it, people don't realize that it's all connected to the same narrative. It's the same narrative being repackaged, all right, in this Manosphere red pill thing. Now, because when you really deal with the red pill movement, it really started with our apostles and elders, whether people are willing to admit it or not. All right, and it's morphed into what it is now because they take small parts of the truth and they build doctrines around it. You see it all across the world when you deal with the conscious community. Is them taking small portions of the truth in the scriptures and then building an entire doctrine around it. And this is why it never lasts long, because it's stepped on. All right. And really, through the spirit, this whole movement was really used, you know, I believe, speaking as a man, to open up the eyes of men of the elect to lead them to the truth. And I think that was the only thing, speaking as a man, that this whole space was set up for, because they do make good points concerning women, concerning the relationship between men and women. All right. They make good points, but the solution that they lead you to is not a solution at all. It's what you Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans have been hearing since you got here. All right, this is Proverbs 16:25. There is a way that seemeth right unto a man, but the end thereof are the ways of death. And see, they bait Jake in with the women, the rhetoric, all right, bringing women on their show concerning Fresh and Fit and cussing them out. They bring Jake in through that. And then they basically sell Jake. All right, subscribe to our platform, subscribe to our Patreon, book a personal session, book a mentoring session, and we'll teach you how to be a man in America, which is basically them giving you talking points on how to become more like Esau. It's the same game, just a different package. All right, and what this conversation did was it really exposed it. All right, because guys like Sneeko, who are Israelites, when you hear him spew his madness, it's all Edomite talking points. It's the same shit we used to hear during these Republican and conservative debates. All right, so let's listen to a little bit more, and then I got one more timestamp on this one.
Come on, cut it out.
All right. I just want to interject something here real quick. I just want like 30 seconds to just make my point here. This entire argument is ridiculous, and I'm going to say why. We're talking about the United States of America. Everyone has opportunity here. Whether people want to go ahead and say, oh, well, I'm victimized and I can't have the same opportunities because of the color of my skin, I think that's a bunch of bullshit. It's up to you if you're going to become successful or not. Whether you come here as an immigrant or you're born here as a foundationally Black American, it doesn't matter. You got to go out there and fucking work. The color of your skin is no longer, hold on, the color of your skin is no longer a valid excuse to say that you're being oppressed by the man or whatever it may be. Whether you're Black as fuck from Africa or you're foundationally Black American,
and they want a brown face just like you to say that kind of shit, right? And that's why we don't want you speaking for us, right?
Yo, shut the fuck up when I'm talking, man. Like you're here as a fucking, you're here as a guest, so shut the fuck up.
Myron, you ain't even built like that, bitch. You got a bad over.
Okay, anyway, like I was saying, fucking clown. I don't even know why he's talking. So, like I was saying, you guys are going ahead and saying that the problems stem because of race. I'm saying that the problems stem because of stupidity. If you deserve to be successful and you work hard, you will get it. Your skin color has nothing to do with that. Okay, that's all I'm saying.
And again, that's why
and to defeat that, we then, if we're saying that, to defeat that,
and with that logic, and I always go back to your homeland. If it's all about being stupid and not race, are you saying everybody from the Sudan is stupid because they got oppressed?
So that's the point. All right. Now, what Myron Gaines said, all right, is basically what goes back to the conservative talking points. And what they do, all right, real subtly, is they ignore the systemic things that have happened to put Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans in this place. Now, does it mean that a Negro, Latino, and Native American can't be successful in the system? No, it doesn't mean that. But it means that the average Negro, Latino, and Native American will not be successful because of what happened to you as a nation of people. All right, let's go here. All right, there's Isaiah 42 and 24. I'll start at 22. It says, but this is a robbed and spoiled. And when you deal with the Manosphere, all right, let me go to this. Isaiah 42 and 22, but this is a people robbed and spoiled. They are all of them snared in holes, and they are hid in prison houses. See, when you work as a nation of people for free, and you build up a society, and you're not compensated for it, on top of that, when you have things like redlining, all right, a lot of wealth that is generated in this society, all right, is generated through land ownership. All right, there was a point in time where Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans were completely shut out of that. All right, when you deal with Jim Crow, when you deal with the welfare, all right, the crime bill, there are certain things that were systemically done intentionally to make sure that the average Negro, Latino, and Native American are robbed and spoiled as a nation of people. And what they would like to do is have you ignore those things that have happened and really just chase your own success. Really, that's what they really just put that out there. That they don't really want you to worry about your nation as a whole. They just want you to go and chase your own fame. And that is how they get money out of Jake. Don't worry about them. Just buy. All right, subscribe to our Patreon. All right, get your mentor session and you worry about you. Don't worry about the condition of your people. And that's not really what a man should do. As a nation of people, a man is supposed to have his nation in mind. And that's why it's really a manosphere, but it's falsely so called because they don't teach you Negro, Latinos, and Native Americans how to be men. The only thing that can do that is this truth. All right, matter of fact, let's go here. Yes. All right, so I'm going to get this one real quick. This is Job 38:1. Then the Lord answered Job out of the whirlwind and said, who is this that darkeneth counsel by words without knowledge? And Manosphere for the most part is a darkened counsel, man, with words without knowledge. They'll use the women to bait Jake in, but outside of that, they don't really have nothing for you, man. All right, verse 3 reads, gird up now thy loins like a man, for I will demand of thee, and answer thou me. And the point being is to gird up our loins like men. And how do we do that? We can only do that through the scriptures. All right, it's Job 8:8. For inquire, I pray thee, for the former age, and prepare thyself to the search of their fathers. We're not supposed to be seeking after Edomites. Those are not our fathers. Their way is not our way. We're supposed to look for our path. All right, and this is why Jake falls into these red pill spaces. And then if they stay there, they end up being disillusioned, and they end up in the same place, really worse off and broker. Because all of the solutions they give you is the same thing these conservatives and Republicans would give you, Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. And maybe some of you will make it, but for the most part, as a nation of people, you are relegated to the bottom of this society. And the Lord did that. All right, let's go back to that. Before I do that, this is Jeremiah chapter 6:16. Thus saith the Lord, stand ye in the ways and see, and ask for the old paths, where is the good way, and walk therein, and ye shall find rest for your souls. But they said, we will not walk therein. And then you have spaces like the Manosphere where they shortstop. They give Jake a little bit of truth. All right, but then when you tell Jake to come into the old path, they don't want to do that. They want to go into the Manosphere and the red pill, which gives you some truth. They can get you out of some of the fog, but they can't get you out completely. Because the only thing that can do that is the truth. This way, the old path. All right. Now let's go back to Isaiah, the 42nd chapter. Because ultimately the Lord set it up like this. Isaiah 42:24. Who gave Jacob for a spoil and Israel to the robbers? Did not the Lord, he against whom we have sinned? For they would not walk in his ways, neither were they obedient unto his law. Therefore he hath poured upon him the fury of his anger and the strength of battle, and hath set him on fire round about, yet he knew not, and it burned him, yet he laid it not to rest. And see, what our people do is they go to these different spaces where other nations of people who don't profit from telling you the truth, they don't suffer to put you in graves. Even if they are in the Manosphere, a lot of these guys aren't even like Myron, for example. He's not an Israelite. All right, but he'll speak on you Negro, Latino, Native American issues, but he doesn't profit from you actually being put in the grave, actually knowing what your heritage is. He doesn't profit from that. He profits from the opposite, pushing the Edomite supremacy on you. All right, it's Jeremiah 50:6. My people have been lost sheep. Their shepherds have caused them to go astray. They have turned them away on the mountains. They have gone from mountain to hill. They have forgotten their resting place. All that found them have devoured them. All right, when you look at the Manosphere, a lot of these guys are really just grievous wolves. They're in there to make money, for a profit, and this is why they push the same points as the conservatives. All right, because these Republican Edomites pay well, so they push the same narrative because it pushes them in the same spaces. All right, it says, and their adversary said, we offend not, because they have sinned against the Lord, the habitation of justice, even the Lord, the hope of their fathers. So our people trade their actual rest for something that is not, it doesn't give them rest. It makes them restless, actually. Because their solution will be like, go get real estate, go, start a copyright business, and, do these different things. And they completely ignore what's going on in the earth. The fact that World War III is on the cusp, or that the will of the one they ignorantly call God is to destroy this place. They ignore those things, and they sell Jake this fantasy of remaining in Babylon and being the one successful person amongst your nation. And that's the dream our people have been sold since they got here. And this is why when you look at the Manosphere, you can take some points from them, all right, because a lot of their points really go back to the scriptures, but you have to spit out the bones. And what you find out is that a lot of these guys are just Edomite supremacists, all right, with so-called black and brown faces. And they point to the same solutions that Esau gave you. which aren't really solutions. It's you begging to have a seat at another man's table. All right, it's you modeling yourself after another nation of people. All right, not just any nation, the basis of men. All right, it's Ecclesiastes 4:27. And it reads, make not thyself an underling to a foolish man, neither accept the person of the mighty. Come on, man. All right, and let's go to Job. All right, this is Job chapter 30. And I'll start at 1. It says, but now they that are younger than I have me in derision, whose fathers I would have disdained to have set with the dogs of my flock. Yea, whereto might the strength of their hands profit me, and whom old age was prayers. All right, and their solutions don't profit you, Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, but they'll sell you on it. And then they'll prop up the few Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans that actually make it and say, look, you can be just like him. But you never judge your condition on the exception. As a nation of people, you always judge on the average. This is why Esau puts up these statistics about their people, the middle class. And why do they do that? Because it gauges how well they're doing as a nation of people. Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans are the only ones who are sold on judging their condition on the exception and not the average. And that's intentional. This is why guys like these red pill guys, a lot of these Manosphere guys, they'll prop up there's certain amount of millionaires amongst Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans and ignore the average lifestyle of Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. And that's what they sell you on. They won't sell the small hats on that. They don't tell the small hats that they're having a victim mindset when they bring up the atrocities that so-called happened to them. All right, this is Job 30:8. And it reads, they were children of fools. All right, yea, children of base men, they were viler than the earth. So again, Ecclesiastes 4:27, make not thyself an underling to a foolish man. All right, the scriptures tell us not to envy. The matter of fact, this is Psalms 37:1. Fret not thyself because of evildoers, neither be thou envious against the workers of iniquity. And what the Manosphere tries to do in a roundabout way is get you to envy and mimic the behavior of these Edomites. And they're considered the basis of men. All right, so I don't want to spend too much time on this through the spirit. With that, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Wakakodash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, who are the elders of Yahshua Allah, and a sincere salutation to all Yuakim, who are preaching this word and believing this word, and to the Akwat, who are believing this word in all truth and in sincerity. Shalom.